Chapter 113, The Genetic Ancient Martial Arts Association 1. Zhu Tuer spent 2 days in a flurry of activity. He had to go to the Neurology Research Center for 3 hours a day to conduct his research. After class in the afternoon, he still had to head to the competition room to whip Chai Jiao and Kai Hongying. He would expend his mind power every time. Of course, he also benefited greatly. He was almost done with the contents of the technique booklet for controlling and exerting force for the flying sword that Zhao Saxui had given him. Not only was he almost done, but Zhu Tui also had his own experiences. Of course, despite how busy he was, he did not delay his training at all. From the time he obtained the flying sword from Zhao Saxui last Sunday to this Sunday, Zhu Tui had activated 3 more genetic base points in the second level of the Mind Concentration Foundation Forging Technique. Currently, he has activated 5 genetic base points on the second level. Basically, he could activate 1 genetic base point every 2 days. From the looks of it, the speed of his training had not changed much from when he was at the first level. However, in reality, Zhu Tui knew that activating the second level of genetic base points was much slower. The reason why the time it took to activate a genetic base point did not change from the time it took to activate the first level was that Zhu Tui's training efficiency had increased. What affected his training efficiency was his mind power. There was an obvious target for the efficiency of his training. That was the number of level E energy restoration elixirs he could use when he was full of mind power and when he was directing the activation of his genetic base points with his mind power. In the beginning, before he entered the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College, Zhu Tui had exhausted a bottle of level E energy restoration elixir during his nightly training. That had been his limit. He had to enter a deep sleep to recover his mind power. After entering the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College, as Zhu Tui's mind power grew rapidly, the number of level E energy restoration elixirs that he consumed during his nightly training also increased drastically. He went from 2 bottles to 3, then to 3.5 bottles. Zhu Tui had consumed 5 bottles of level E energy restoration elixirs during his nightly training, after he was administered with the genetic transcriptional elixir of the Queen Bee last week and his mind power mutated. As of today, if he was in a state where his mind power was at its peak, he would have used up 6 bottles of level E energy restoration elixirs during his nightly training. From this indicator, Zhu Tui's training efficiency should have increased by more than 6 times from before. Compared to a week ago, the efficiency of his training had doubled. At the same time, the time it took to consume a bottle of level E energy restoration elixir also decreased drastically. He needed an hour at the start, 45 minutes later, and half an hour after that. In these 2 days, he would be able to use up a bottle of level E energy restoration elixir in less than half an hour. It was also because of the increase in the efficiency of his training that Zhu Tui was able to activate a second-level genetic base point every 2 days. It was much faster than the speed at which he expected to activate one every 4 to 5 days. The only problem was that Zhu Tui was running out of money for his training. The Level C Rights supplementary card that Zhao Saxui gave him only cost Zhu Tui $3,750 for a bottle of level E energy restoration elixir. It did save him a quarter of the money he needed, but he still could not withstand it. Furthermore, the amount of bottles he received from the discount of his low-grade level C rights was 400 bottles a year. That was a maximum of 40 bottles a month. Based on the current rate of depletion, it was still not enough. Zhu Tui desperately needed to make money. Judging from the current rate of depletion, he would run out of money in a week. Of course, Zhu Tui also had a preliminary idea. He would first try his best to convert all of his resources into strength, then use the strength to make money. Powerful genetic newcomers had more ways of earning money than ordinary people. Zhu Tui, who had been in the school for almost 2 months, was no longer a rookie. He had some understanding of this. Sunday, according to his original plan, he would first head to Research Institute number 14 to do some maintenance work, before heading to the Neurology Research Center for further experiments. There was no such thing as a break in research. However, he had just woken up in the morning when he saw Luo Murong walk out of the washroom. His hair had just been tied up and was tied up with a jade headband. There was still a fiery red bud of an eagle stuck to his forehead. He looked heroic but also a little demonic. Perhaps it was because Luo Murong was in his 3rd year, but he did not stay in the dormitory every day. This was the first time Zhu Tui saw Luo Murong in the morning this week. He immediately remembered something related to the genetic ancient martial arts. Zhu Tui felt that he had to get a deeper understanding of his illusory introspection. He was not worried about his studying energy. Zhu Tui did not know what the other students in the School of Enlightened Mind were like. But he had already displayed the benefits of being in the School of Enlightened Mind. He had an eidetic memory, an exceptional memory, and an exceptional comprehension ability. Of course, it might be because Zhu Tui had activated more genetic base points in his head. It was also because of this that he had already finished self-studying the theory courses for first-year students. He had also learned a portion of the theories for second-year students. Sometimes Zhu Tui would think that the 3rd year of high school would not have been that hard if he had this ability even when he was in high school. He would become the top student of the top students just by flipping through a book. That was the life Zhu Tui wanted to have. "Good morning, Murong," Zhu Tui actively greeted him. Even though Luo Murong's surname was Luo, it felt good to call him Murong.